Sunny Southern California, the entertainment capital of the world. And today, all eyes are on Long Beach, the attraction, Sports Car Wars. World Challenge is underway. Deep on the brakes are still side by side. He may be going for second. Multi-class racing in the World Challenge is back. Coming up hard. Welcome to the Pirelli World Challenge at Long Beach, presented by StopTech. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Creamer, and folks, this is the stuff of postcards. And it's one of the many reasons this has become a legendary stop on the International Motorsports Tour. It's also the 6th year that the Pirelli World Challenge Championships are going to be racing at this legendary venue, but it's the 2nd consecutive year that all 3 classes will be competing at the same time. As a matter of fact, for the standing start, remember, one of the most exciting parts of this race is just that, we're going to have a record number of entries at this venue heading down into turn 1. That means it's going to be a race filled with great excitement and certainly some great stories. And that's going to be coming your way in just a minute. My partner, Calvin Fish, is up in the booth. Cal, in just a couple of minutes, it's going to be the roar by this shore.
Well, certainly Long Beach is regarded, Greg, as the jewel on the schedule, and it's always a driver and fan favorite. And one California driver has had tremendous success here over the years, and that's, of course, Pat Long. He leads the GT Championship on the back of back-to-back victories at St. Petersburg, and he starts out from the front, and he stands by with Greg.
Long Beach is always tough because there's a lot of series here that want to get time, and you don't have a lot of track time in street courses. Also, the Porsche 911 is really, really strong on street courses. We knew we were going to be strong here. We got to pad the points a little bit because when we get to the bigger tracks, the longer straightaways, we know the Vipers, the Corvettes, even the Cadillacs will be giving us a hard time. So it's all about running as hard as we can right now, but being smart. There's a lot of cars on the track and certainly a lot of racing.
Certain drivers love the streets here at Long Beach. Certainly Pat Long is one of those. And another real street fighter is Dino Crescentini. Over the years here, he's had tremendous results, including a great run here in 2010. So he's certainly looking forward to the green flag here, once again starting in the GMG Porsche from the 3rd row of the grid. There he is on board with him as he gets ready for the green flag here this afternoon. And looking back at last year's race, boy, did he ever charge through the field. He qualified 6th. There he makes a move on Ron Fellows just a couple of laps later. This is for P4. He gets down to the inside of Boris said there's contact, but he is through. Now he's on his way looking for a podium finish. Next man on his agenda was Brandon Davis. He makes that move. He's up to 2nd. Today, of course, he would like to go one better, and earlier this weekend he spoke with Greg.
What is it about Long Beach, other than that it's your home track, that you like so much?
Well, aside from the fact that it's a home track, it's a street track. It's a street course, much like St. Pete, where I tend to do better on the street courses. I love them. I just love driving street courses. It takes me back to the days when I was actually racing on the street, illegally.
Is there something about that kind of a track, that point-and-squirt nature of the track, that really plays to your strengths or your car's strengths?
Yeah, I like the point and squirt. I like the, and actually it really lends itself well to driving a Porsche. I mean, the Porsche loves that kind of driving style, so my driving style and the Porsche dynamics work well together.
And I think the other strong point for Dino is he is the late breaker, and that really pays dividends here at Long Beach. But in touring car, it should be Hondas to the front once again. You saw Shea Holbrook there. There's our championship leader in touring car, Lawson Aschenbach, who had a great win and a 2nd place finish at St. Petersburg. And there's his teammate Thomas Eland, who qualified 6th. And Honda have really stepped up their involvement this year. And Lawson tells us a little bit more about what's happening.
Hi, I'm Lawson Aschenbach, driver of the number 71 Compass 360 Racing Honda Civic Si. Today, we're actually in the paddock, which is in a convention center for the World Challenge race in Long Beach, California. It's a very exciting race and a very exciting event. On top of all this, people ask me a lot, what do I like about the Honda Civic? It's nimble, it's quick, it's fast, it handles like a dream, and the best part about it is being on a street course. How tight and twisty the turns are here at places like this, where you don't have the smooth flowing type courses. It's tough on cars, it's tough on equipment, and it's tough on people, but this Honda suits it perfect. Today I'm here with Mark Sowers of Honda Performance Development, and he's here to talk to us about Honda's relationship within the World Challenge Series.
The past couple of years, HPD has been supplying performance parts to World Challenge competitors such as Lawson. In this case, specifically tuned performance parts for the Civic that Lawson is campaigning here at Long Beach. We're pleased to be part of this. You can register for parts and technical support through HPD on the Honda racing line. And we're looking forward to running with Lawson for the rest of the week, as well as Compass 360 and the other Honda-powered cars.
We had a great race in St. Petersburg where we took a win at the first race of the year, and we expect to carry that momentum into Long Beach this weekend. So we're very excited to be here, hope for another win, and we'll see what happens, and we'll see you guys on the podium.
Now let's take a look at the driver's standings after 2 rounds of the championship. Pat Long leads GT on the back of those 2 wins in St. Petersburg. Eric Foss leads GTS, and Lawson Oschenbach leads Touring Car with a win and a 2nd place finish on the streets of St. Pete. But this weekend, it's all about the streets of Long Beach. Long Beach is more than a race, it is an event, and the street party starts on Thursday here with the Thunder on Pine. It's a great opportunity for the fans and the drivers to do a meet and greet session, sign some autographs, have some fun. And as always, the fans embrace this event, and in particular car culture and sports car wars.
The Pirelli World Challenge Championships are brought to you by Sunoco, the official fuel of over 40 series of driving, racing, and winning. By the Cadillac D-Series, the 556 horsepower CTSV coupe, sedan, and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars. And by Pirelli, power is nothing without control.
And welcome back to the Pirelli World Challenge at Long Beach, presented by Stop Tech. And the drivers are on the grid, and very cool conditions here. A lot different to what we've been experiencing throughout the course of this weekend. But as we look back at the first round at St. Petersburg, one of the major stories there was that of touring car driver Eric Meyer. Here he's involved in an incident coming on the back stretch there, and it got very scary there. He's the middle car number 32. There you see it on the way back to the paddock. Major damage. Well, the car eventually made its way back to its Indianapolis headquarters for the race team, and they made a switch to their spare chassis. There we see the parts being delivered, and then in the parking lots around Long Beach there to utilize time here to try and get this car ready for the first practice session. A lot of work went into it, and there we see Eric on his first run in practice, but it was to be short-lived as we see engine drama, and they had to do an engine swap right before qualifying. But Eric rewarded the crew and eventually qualified P5 in touring car, and there we see him on the grid ready to go for today's race. And there's a look at our GTS Championship leading car, the Traxxas Mustang. And this is another great story this year with the return of Eric Foss to World Challenge competition.
The car I'm racing this year in World Challenge is sponsored by Traxxas, and it was bought by the owner, Mike Jenkins. When Mike purchased it, he gave me a call and said, "Hey, I've got this great opportunity for you to run this Traxxas St. Jude Children's Hospital car. Let's get this program together and see what we can do with it."
We got together with St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital and decided that this was something that we could really get behind, bring a lot of public awareness to it. We found that St. Jude's operates 100% on what is donated to them from the public.
We actually do have a website set up, traxxas.com/Children First, and anyone can contribute based on laps led, races won. We're getting a lot of contributions right now, and that's the great thing about St. Jude Children's Hospital is 70% of its operations are on public contributions, and it's a $1.6 million a day operation, so it's really quite amazing what they're able to accomplish.
Well, since the mid part of last year when the Mustangs came onto the World Challenge scene, they've had 5 races, 14 top 5 finishes, and 2 wins, as you can see. But that's good news for them. Bad news for this man, P.D. Cunningham. How's he going to fight the battle this year?
These Mustangs are fast, and there's a lot of fast cars out there. I'm afraid we've got our work cut out for us today, but if we can get some more green running, I think the Acura TSX will do well. Certainly in the twisty bits, we've got it figured out.
Well, and Petey's got it figured out, as does the team. This is a look at the new Nissan safety vehicle. It's the Nissan Leaf, which is truly the world's first affordable mass-market electric vehicle. And Grassroots Motorsports Magazine is the Pirelli World Challenge Championship media partner, and all season long are producing segments called Inside Look on grassrootsmotorsports.com. For this event, the focus is on driver safety. So go to grassrootsmotorsport.com and check that out. It's great stuff. And here's a look at Andy Pilgrim on a street course. Key corners are huge. Here is Andy with Caddy's Key Corner.
Hi, I'm Andy Pilgrim. We're here on the streets of Long Beach, one of the best racetracks in the whole of North America. Coming into turn 1, heavy braking, slightly uphill, mid-apex turn. The wall comes in close on that exit. You've got to be very careful. Up to the fountains, turn 2, and then a quick left, turn 3. Coming out of there, very tricky. This is a tough corner. Concrete in, concrete out. Turn 4. Coming up to turn 5, this thing drops away. Massive negative camber on the exit. Heavy braking coming into turn 6. Left-hander. Got a little reasonable exit. It opens out, kind of a kink. Turn 7 right there, a little bit of a kink. Over the top, downhill to turn 8. Great passing place. You've got to be careful turning. You can easy to lose the back end here. Real big heave in the track right here, right there. Good exit. Very, very dirty here. A lot of rubber. It gets real slippery. Got to be very careful around here. Then the magic hairpin at Long Beach, first or second gear. Come out of there and then bang it up all the gears back down the front straightaway. This place is a riot. You can see by traffic it's always busy.
And it will be busy in just a few minutes. This record entry is about to get underway. Here are those special words.
From our friends at Pirelli Tires, StopTech, and Optima Batteries, drivers, start your engines!
Chip Foose just loving it. The engines have come to life. The drivers are setting out on their formation lap, doing some practice starts, getting some heat in those Pirellis. And we are ready with our starting lineup. And interestingly, we had the front row with a pole sitter once again in Pat Long for True Speed, obliterating the track record as you'd expect with these new Pirellis. 08 winner, 09 champ Brandon Davis alongside. Then in row 2, Mike Skeen in that very quick Krager Wheels Corvette. And Jason Doswell's a great effort in his Devon Developments entry in the Viper. Then it is the 2 Global Motorsports Group Porsches of James Sofronis and Dino Crescentini. Then Johnny O'Connell and Rob Morgan, the Cadillac and the second True Speed Porsche. Moving to row number 5, Andy Pilgrim in that beautiful Cadillac CTSV Coupe, and Tony Gaples in the Black Dog Chevy Corvette. And in row 6, Tommy Dreesy from Hollywood in the X-Men First Class Porsche, and Pat Lindsay in the Hawk Performance Corvette. Moving to row 7, it is Fred Roberts in the Direct Energy Home Services Viper, and Brent Holden in the Global Motorsports Group Porsche. And in row 8, Jason Carter in the Racing for Our Heroes Porsche, and Randy Popes after problems of qualifying in the Capex Volvo.
And on row 9, we have our GTS pole sitter, Jason Von Kluge, his first pole of the year, starting alongside Paul Brown, his 3rd consecutive front row start. The next row, Mustangs dominate in GTS. First 4 on the grid, Ben Crossland and Eric Foss. There we see the first of the non-Mustangs, 6-time World Challenge champion Petey Cunningham, scoring a few precious bonus points starting alongside Brad Adams. There we see his teammate Nick Asayan, Richard Golinello in the Ford Mustang. And on row 13, it's Pratt Cole in another Mustang, followed by Ernie Jakubowski in the Porsche Cayman.
Looking at row 14, your touring car pole sitter Lasse Aschenbach for the 2nd straight race, joined by Ron Zitza, the Gila Monster VW Jetta, who was a podium finisher at St. Pete. Row 15, Aaron Povolato gives the new Volvo C30 its best qualifying run, as did Devin Cates for a career best. Then Eric Meyer, ever persistent in the Zowie Mazda, and rookie Thomas Elin fill out row 16. Row 17, Shea Holbrook, a career best qualifying run in her 3rd different Honda this season, and Rob Holland in the 2nd Capex Volvo. Row 18, Don Istuk in the Revo Technique Carbotech Audi this weekend, and Rafael Navarro, who ended up a little light after qualifying and starts at the back, and Tom Felt and Bill Ziegler will not be able to start due to problems in qualifying. So that completes the grid. As you can see, the cars coming around to take their grid spots. When we come back, it will be round 3 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships right here at Long Beach, presented by StopTech. The standing start awaits. Welcome back to the Pirelli World Challenge at Long Beach, presented by StopTech. Just about ready to get the standing start underway for round 3 of the championship. And as we take a look at this great field in the GTS category, the orange varsity Ford of Ann Arbor Ford Mustang is on the pole. I visited with him a bit earlier. Jason Von Kluge, you're going to be in and amongst a bunch of GT cars, so at Long Beach, you got your work cut out for you still.
Yeah, I mean, just like St. Pete, I think we got to all keep our heads up and make sure we drive a good, clean race and watch for the guys that are coming around us. You know, when we're trying to go around a touring car, we got a GT car trying to pass us. It can get a little hairy out there. So just looking forward to a good start and a good race.
And as you can see, the grid is full of people as part of the March to the Grid and the festivities here as we are getting ready to go. And, of course, one thing we're going to be looking at, Cal, is the Racekeeper quad box. Some great onboard looks.
Yes, we certainly expect some spectacular action from these. Top left, you've got 18-year-old Ben Crosland, starts 3rd in GTS in his Mustang. Alongside on the right corner there, you see Brad Adams in another Mustang starting 6th in GTS. Bottom left, Eric Meyer, what a week he has had, starts 5th in TC. And alongside, on the grid and in the quad box, is Thomas Elin in another Civic SI.
Always providing us some great looks. Speaking of great looks, we're about ready to go. There are the wheel-in lights. When those red lights go on, we get to go, and Long moving a little bit. The lights are out. We are now underway, but Long may be in a bit of problems. So you can see Skeen in that yellow Corvette took a look.
Look at Daskalos wedges his way down the inside. Bumps Brandon Davis out of the way. The Viper won here last year, showing its muscle once again.
Wow, Daskalos using the grunt of that V10 to great effect. Davis tucks into second, and look at Dino Crescentini around the outside of pole sitter Long in that Centric Park Stop Tech Porsche. Long back to fourth, then Sophronis, then Skeen, and then the rest of that GT Field of Thunder as they work through that intricate fountain complex.
Well, we talked about Dino Crescentini being in a street fighter. He's immediately up into third spot. A great start for him and a good clean start. We expected problems here, but look at this. Brandon Davis looking at the inside of Daskalos. Doesn't make it stick.
Boy, and you saw Crescentini even thinking, if they get into it, maybe I can do something. But there's that torque and power. Look at how quick that V10 and that V8 just leapt away a little bit from Crescentini. The strength of that Porsche is through the twisty bits and under braking, isn't it?
It is, and Pat Long now dropped back to fourth. It hasn't been a great weekend for him. He's had so much success here on the streets at Long Beach, but was leading here right in this corner yesterday when he hit the wall in the ALMS race. He's looking for better things here today.
He did a remarkable record, and that is Rob Holland running a little wide in turn 8, just nudging the tires. Was able to back out of it, but he's going to lose an awful lot of track time. Cal, let's see if we can see what happens.
Oh, teammates there. I don't think there was any contact, but Holland came in there with tremendous speed. No way he was going to make that corner. Look at this. Oschenbach, that's our championship leader. Damage to the right front corner, Greg.
And that is serious. You can see that right front wheel is serious, and apparently it happened on the start, Cal. Let's go back to a replay to start.
On board here with Aaron Povolino. He tries to go through the gap here. It isn't there. Look at that. He turns Zitska into Oschenbach and hammers the wall hard.
You can see also Zitza involved in that, so the top two qualified cars and touring car contact right away, and now Oschenbach just trying to limp his way into the pits. Tell you what, this Compass 360 crew has some serious work. Another look here, you're on board Oschenbach.
There you can see him busy on the wheel. Nothing he could do. He didn't expect that. They're just looking straight ahead. We're on board now with Devin Cates in the VW GTI. He sees everything right in front of him, tries to scramble through here. Did he clear the carnage? I think he did.
And meanwhile, Oschenbach sits frustrated in pit lane.
During the start of the race, I pretty much just went straight, riding my line, and all of a sudden I kind of got hit from the side. It looks like from the rear as well, so I actually have no idea. Figure that out, but I just feel bad for all the guys, man. This Compass 360 Honda Civic was just awesome. All the support from Honda Racing HPD and all our partners. I mean, this is very frustrating when you get hit by someone who a little overzealous on the start. I told everybody in the driver's meeting it was very simple. We have to all get to the first corner so we can have a good race, and unfortunately, sounds like someone didn't understand that. So pretty frustrating, and we'll just try to fix it and get back out there.
Tough moment, but it certainly helped Shea Holbrook, Cal.
It really did. Look at this. She started 33rd, and she's up to 29th. So a nice clean start, most importantly, and gained a few spots.
And as a result, she got the Optima Battery Best Standing Start Award. Well done for Shea Holbrook. Meanwhile, back to racing. You can see some of the debris sitting on the edge of the track. Drivers need to be a little careful of that. As good as these new Pirelli slick tires are, they can get cut down. And speaking of cut down, what a move by Dino.
Oh man. We knew he was good on the brakes, but whether Brandon had just been a little conservative in these early laps, but Dino just sliced it to the inside. Dominant move there.
And we're getting a report as well that man, Pat Long, in that Privacy Star Entrust Porsche may be called to pit lane for a drive-through or maybe even stop-and-go penalty for rolling early. We just caught him doing that, and his weekend goes from bad to worse, and Brandon Davis said, all right, I'll return the favor.
He got the power down really well. I tell you what, that Mustang looks to be hooked up. It's not sliding around, but look up front. Jason Daskalos doing a tremendous job sliding that Viper around the streets here at Long Beach.
And for Brandon Davis in that ACS Express Sun Micro Mustang, the concern they've had since they started running that car for a few years, it's a little tough on tires. that maybe these new Pirellis and that grip are really helping them out here. Meanwhile, here is your leader in the touring car division, Devin Cates, in the Cates Engineering Creative Designs team. And look at that, Eric Meyer, all of that hard work paying off for that Zowie Samaritan's feat and Delvira Mazda.
Well, Cates has really got a great history this year in terms of great starts. He got the 2 Optima Standing Start Awards at St. Petersburg at round 1 and 2, and now he finds himself in the lead. But damage there to the right front corner, you can see. So he hasn't gone unscathed here in the opening couple of laps.
That's racing on a street course, isn't it? It's close quarters, and your limits are very clearly defined by those walls. Meanwhile, behind them, that is Shea Holbrook, and she is already running in the highest position she has since she switched from being a nationally ranked water skier to a race car driver and in the pro ranks. And she is trying to keep pace and run with these two right now. But Cates, in that Cutaway Creations, that beautiful VW, nothing but white in his mirrors right now.
Now, both those cars look pretty evenly matched down this front straightaway and through the braking zone. We'll look here through the twisty section to see whether the Mazda has an advantage. But now back in GTS is Brown out front, followed by Van Kluge.
Boy, Paul Brown is just on a mission here. They're not funded for the full season, and so he said, I have got to give everything I've got every time I go out and let people see that maybe we're worth spending some money on. And boy, has he been. The first 2 races, he has fast laps, and he's out front now. So here you go. Here is your overall leaders. Daskalos, Davis, Crescentini, and Long. In GTS, it's Brown, Van Kluge, Crosland, and Cunningham now 4th. And in touring cars, Cates, Meyer, Navarro, and Holbrook. The Pirelli World Challenge Championships are brought to you by Volvo, Volvo for life. And it's also brought to you by StopTech, world-class brake components and systems for high-performance vehicles on the street and the track. And by the Bob Bondurant School of High Performance Driving, internationally recognized as the leading authority on driver training. We're back, everybody, and great racing as we hop on board with Tony Gaples as he's taking a look at one of those beautiful Cadillacs. Gaples looks like he's going to make the move, Cal.
He does. Gets to the inside, gets in position there, and moves Pilgrim back 1 spot.
Nice pass in that Kleinschmidt Black Dog Speed Shop entry. Moving back a little bit. We are watching there as Jason Daskalos now working traffic, and he has got Brandon Davis all over the back of him. So traffic has brought that Delson Developments Viper back into the hands of Davis.
I'll tell you what, though, Long Beach is a little bit easier in dealing with this traffic than the streets at St. Petersburg. It's a little bit wider, more overtaking opportunity, so it should be a cleaner race, I think. But Brandon Davis now putting the pressure on Daskalos. Will he crack?
Watch him down here, a key overtaking area. This is turn 9. Leads you down into the hairpin, not quite close enough.
Look at that Viper there, under braking and turning into turn 9. He's really hanging on to it, really sort of like takes a ride over those bumps there. Doesn't look very settled, but great job by Jason behind the wheel.
And you've got Long is now up into 3rd, but again, the possibility awaits for him to have to duck into the pit lane. Meanwhile, and that's an interesting thing, those 2 leaders working traffic, you get forced offline right toward that debris.
You do. There's debris out there. There's marbles. A lot of races been run here throughout the course of this weekend, and Pat Long now on a mission. He's got the notice that he's got to make that pit stop. He'll have about 3 laps to make that, otherwise they'll probably stop scoring him. But he's in a brand new race car this weekend. It's a 2011 Porsche. Did a quick shakedown at Buttonwillow last week. The car feels good, and he put it on the pole.
Yeah, he really credited his team, too. He said after the practice session, that team spent the entire day working on that car. He said, I had a list of things because he knew we needed to maximize the performance on the street courses here. And he said because we get on those faster rolling road courses, we may not be quite as strong. And now the word is official. They are telling Long he needs to come in or he will not be scored. So that's the move. Meanwhile, beautiful move by Daskalos in traffic. That's how you want to play it. But Davis read it beautifully, too. He did not lose that much, did he?
I tell you what, you look at Davis, he's really getting the power down nice and smoothly. He's not squirming around. He's not sliding those rear tires. You got to think the amount of races that he's been teammates to Boris Said has really paid off in terms of the tutoring and the mentoring that Boris has done with this young man.
You're not a bad coach.
He's one of the best. Certainly has great experience in this high horsepower cars. When is Pat Long going to serve that penalty? Because he is going to get stopped scoring here. Now he dives in, Greg.
Right now. So that's the key. Now the question is, I'm not sure if it's going to be a stop and go or a drive-through, so we'll have to watch that. And this is an eternity.
It really is. It just seems like you're absolutely walking down this straightaway. You're seeing all the cars flashing by to your outside. Here's the start here. You see him there. He creeps before the lights are out. Comes through a standstill once again, but he probably moved outside of his box. Now on board here with Pat Long. Stop and go at the end of pit lane. Now he's got some work to do. He really needs a caution to try and minimize the damage here this afternoon.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to save it and drop back those spots. He lifted, everybody streamed by him, but the rules are if you move at all, once those red lights come on, that's it.
You got to think maybe the new car was a factor there.
Oh, and Eric Foss, problem smoke off of that left
tire
front,
is
isn't
gone,
it? Yeah.
I think.
Well, we've seen all
just
that.
the rim running there as best you could see.
All that debris on the track, and he may have just got forced into it and cut that tire down. Meanwhile, boy, watching that, Dascolo's car is dancing as he is on the absolute edge. And you have to when you've got that black Mustang all over the back of you. And folks, you know something? You can enhance your World Challenge Racing fun by visiting world-challenge.com/fantasy league. It's presented by the Bondurant School of High Performance Driving. And if you join the league today, you have a shot at a 4-day Bondurant school valued at $5,000. You can also follow World Challenge on Twitter. Join the World Challenge Twitter account at twitter.com/WC Racing. Receive instant updates on race weekends from the series. When you got racing that's this fast and furious, why not? That fantasy league, I bet, is a blast when you've got guys that race this close.
Yes, absolutely fantastic stuff. But meanwhile, at the front of this pack, it looks like Dasclos may have a slight edge down this front straightaway. Doesn't pull away much. And Brandis Davis just keeps the heat on as Skeen is closing in as well in third.
Drop back to the GTS division, and Paul Brown continues to run strongly. Jason Von Kluge in that orange varsity Ford of Ann Arbor Mustang sits second. But Brown, like I said, on a mission here. He's got some good support from Lucas Oil, K&N, but not enough for the full season. And they're also very involved in the Arcadia Methodist Hospital Trauma Center because his wife, Carol Holfelder, had a motorcycle accident a number of years ago, and that trauma center saved her life, and it's in danger of closing, and they're trying to help raise funds for it. So very special indeed. And now we hop on board with the Interbank Mustang of Ben Crosland, the young 18-year-old in third. You see the two leaders. Those guys are running that new Boss 302S, but not Crosland and not Foss.
That's right, and I spoke to Eric Foss this weekend. He is, in fact, looking at maybe switching over to the Boss Mustang later in the season, but it seems to have the edge right now.
Meanwhile, here's Rafael Navarro, the fourth. They call him R4. Very quick in qualifying, had that little technical problem, and he has charged back through the pack. And with the incident between Aschenbach and Zitza, he finds himself in the lead. It's been a great drive, and here's the pass for the lead.
Down the front straightaway along Shoreline Drive. There's Devin Cates in front of him, just switches to the outside, takes a little bit of a draft, and then he's on the inside line for the upcoming turn one. So a power move there, not totally unexpected. He was the third fastest car in qualifying before getting turfed to the back. And as you mentioned, Greg, the two faster cars are out of this race right now.
And so at this point, Navarro, R4 as they call him, leads in the touring car division. Meanwhile, it is Jason Dascalos leading overall in GT and Paul Brown in GTS, and there's young R4. We've got some great action unfolding here at the Pirelli World Challenge at Long Beach, presented by StopTech. Round 3 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships, and much of it is the pursuit of that black ACS Express Sun Micro Mustang in the hands of Brandon Davis, chasing that white and black Nelson Developments Viper of one Jason Dascalos, and they are coming up into traffic. Dascalos swings wide, Davis able to get through, but more traffic ahead. It's relentless here, Cal.
Look at the difference in speed down Shoreline Drive. It must be about 50 miles an hour between these front-running GT cars and the little touring cars coming up that straightaway. Unbelievable difference.
Oh, and Dascalos is trapped behind Adams, but now he gets by. Davis slices through. So obviously Davis able to close up a little bit, just do that bit in the fountain complex. And now look at Davis, cuts to the inside, starting to change his lines up. He's taking a run. Boy, did he get the power down up and around the outside. This is tough to do here. Down into turn 8. Calvin, he's alongside. Can he stay there?
Well, that's the key. He should have the inside line, but Dascalos took the weight of the line a little bit. Davis forces to the inside. This is going to be really tight through here. Good, clean racing. They touch.
He get a little bump and go, but it was on the exit. No harm, no foul. They're both now at straight line drag race. But the thing is Davis has the inside. Ew, they just nudge a little bit again. But I think Dascalos realized he's got the line. If I try and get too aggressive, it could take us both out, and I'd rather live to fight a little bit longer. Davis, your leader, won here in 08, won the championship in 09, but hasn't raced here, Cal, since last year at this event. Doesn't show.
That was just fantastic racing by those drivers there. They kept it clean, they kept it hard, but meanwhile, Mike Skeen has been able to close in whilst those two guys went side by side for several corners.
Boy, and Mike Skeen, what a revelation last year in his lone appearance in Mid-Ohio. And the team, they said, we want this lad full-time. And you can see why. He has come up, and they are coming up on Peter Cunningham, who currently is running just outside of a podium spot in that real-time HPD Acura. And these two leaders are going to, whoa, very close. Petey doing what you're supposed to do.
Tried to get out of the way, but Brandon had already committed to the outside.
Well, Petey clearly in the wars today, and he has been all season. But you know what? This team and Acura are not sitting still.
HPD has been expanding its involvement for American Honda's motorsports and Acura's motorsports over the past couple of years. So it was just a natural fit of this particular evolution of World Challenge.
The 2011 GTS category is a whole lot different than last year, and for sure HPD is helping us to try to beat these higher horsepower cars, including the Mustangs and the Camaros. So HPD offers a lot of technical help for us.
Between Real Time and HPD, the two can work together to showcase the Acura Tagline Advance. This represents Acura's 25th year as a brand, and our partnership hopefully will launch the next 25 years on the racetrack.
We're very proud of the product. That we're excited to try to show the Mustangs and the other guys that this Acura can compete.
Well, you know, you always want to win, but Petey has shown in the past you can win a championship without having a lot of wins.
Well, he had 8 wins last year on the way to a championship, but back in 2008 he won the championship without getting a victory. So he knows, he's got the experience, and he knows what the strengths are of the Acura car, and he knows what the strengths are of the Mustang certainly as well.
A 6-time champion, Acura record 9-time champions. Obviously, this pairing and this team know how to get the job done. And Petey, whatever way he can do it, he'll get her done. Meanwhile, Brandon Davis, loving the streets of Long Beach. He swept everything here in 08. Pole, win, most laps, led the whole thing. And now, wow, putting himself at harm's way going around Eric Meyer. But Eric realized it at the right time and stayed put and let him sneak through. Well, that was a brazen move.
It really was, and Daskalos was ready to pounce there. He got the move done on May and thought, maybe I'll sneak to the inside of Brandon Davis and take this lead back. But just great racing here at the front of the pack. They're dealing with the traffic nicely, and all of the time, Mike Skeen is gradually creeping his way into the picture here.
Boy, and Daskalos, that car is still bucking and weaving. He is on the edge and just nicks the wall. That is how intense the competition is with 3 classes of Pirelli World Challenge Championship. Here are the leaderboards. Davis, Daskalos, Skeen in GT, GTS, Brown, Bunch, Luby, and Crosland. And in touring cars, Navarro, Cates, and Shea Holbrook. Just approaching the halfway point here at round 3 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. The Pirelli World Challenge at Long Beach, presented by StopTech. There is Mike Skeen in the Krager Wheels Corvette sitting in the 3rd position. But look who is coming up hard astern. Look at him close up on a braking in that Global Motorsports Group Porsche. And, you know, they're running StopTech brakes. Maybe that's the key.
Well, we saw his teammate Dino Crescentini make a tremendous move down at turn 1, and James Safronis there looked like he was looking for a way by the inside, but unfortunately Skeen had the same piece of real estate at the apex, but he is really on a move. He won here in 2009, and talking to him this weekend, he said, if there's one race I want to win this year, it is this one. It's my hometown race. He said, I want it bad.
Yeah, Global Motorsports Group, located just up the road in Newport Beach. It's one of the world's top Porsche, as well as other manufacturer aftermarket parts. And Skeen coming up with some lap traffic, gets through. That's Don Ishtuk in the Audi, the Revo Technique Carbotech Audi, and both get through. But what an interesting battle here. And here comes Safronis once again down to the inside.
Wow.
Cal, he came from San Bernardino to make that pass.
Skeen really close to the wall there. Nearly squeezed him all the way up. It gave him a little bit of racing room, but the Porsche is really, really tough on the brakes. Lightweight car, relatively speaking, and really makes advantages there in the braking zones.
Well, an interesting thing for the Corvettes, too. After St. Pete, they lost a little tire size at the back. They were given a little more up front, and Skeen said it actually helped the balance. It got rid of understeer. But as the race unfolds, just with generally less rubber, maybe you start to lose a little bit of grip. But here comes Crescentini. Skeen getting an eyeful of Global Motorsports Group Porsches. You saw a yellow flag flying. Somebody had run down to the runoff, and that may have been the reason that Dino backed off a little bit.
Yeah, I thought he was being a bit conservative for Dino, but there we see some damage to Meyer's car. The muffler's come adrift there, Greg, dragging on the ground. Have to wait and see if he gets a black flag for that one.
How much does this team have to endure? This has just been an unbelievable run for them. I mean, they were tossed out of the Queen Mary parking lot. Well, they just were looking for any place to try and get this car put together, and absolutely no quit in Meyer or his team, and it's a great story, and I hope he gets to show a finish for it.
Yeah, the car looks great. The team have done a tremendous job. We saw him having to change that engine prior to qualifying, and he had a great run going there, running up in the second spot in the early laps. So certainly looking for a podium here today, and it looks like the car's hooked up pretty well. Tucks into that hairpin turn really nicely, but meanwhile up front, Navarro continues to lead.
Boy, does he look strong coming from the back again, obviously, with Aschenbach and Zitza having their problems early. Navarro was the third quickest qualifier and has worked his way back through the front and doing a superb job on that entry. And there you see, is that Nick Hussain or is that PD? That's PD Cunningham.
Cunningham right behind him, and Navarro will be looking for him and just trying to make... Oh! Ooh! You have to wonder if Navarro was looking in his rearview mirror, saw PD right behind him, just got distracted for a moment. It's so easy to have happen on these street courses, Greg. You have to hit your marks. There's not a lot of grip offline. He just gets wide, does a good job, but he had a healthy lead there in class. You have to see if he hangs on to it. I believe he does. Keeps the lead.
Yep, I don't think he lost that position, Cal. By the way, for any young driver who may be watching this, did you see him stop before he rejoined? There's a corner worker there who's giving him a point, and if you don't follow that, that can be a penalty. So Rafael Navarro, coming from the world of off-road racing, he is a budding superstar in Score lights, and a matter of fact, his next race next weekend, I think, coming up is the Baja 500. So he's a busy lad, but this is very, very early in his road racing career, showing some good stuff. Meanwhile, on board the X-Men Porsche from Global Motorsports Group of Tommy Dreese, his first full season of racing in World Challenge and first season ever driving a Porsche like this, and battling for 11th right now.
Tommy's another driver who got penalized like Pat Long for jumping the start, so he had to hit pit lane and rejoined in 15th spot, so he's now making his way back through the GT field as well. Had a great run here yesterday in the ALMS race, finishing second in the PC class.
There is a look at Devin Cates, who sits second right now in the touring class in that Cutaway Creations and Cates Engineering VW GTI, but look who's closing on him. Just out of the frame here, just caught her for a moment, is Shea Holbrook. And there she comes. She is starting to run him down just a little bit. And Meyer is in. The car concerned about that muffler that's falling off of the back of that Zowie Mazda. And boy, this team has been pounding a lot of that product here this weekend, trying to stay on the game. Boy, that entire exhaust collapse looked like hell.
It has. You have to be wondering about the heat that's developed from that Mazda engine. You don't want to burn anything down, so the crew goes to work here. But meanwhile, out front, Brandon Davis has now gapped Descalos a little bit. He's got some lap traffic between he and the second place runner right now, doing a superb job, just keeping it really nice and clean. He isn't overworking those tires. That may pay dividends towards the end of this race.
Yeah, he has driven brilliantly. He's been very decisive in traffic, and as you said, without taking much out of the car. And
watch him coming off that corner there, and that's really a key corner. That hairpin, so easy to spin the wheels up there, and he's just getting the power down nicely, getting good traction from the Mustang, and stretching his lead right now.
Oh, and Rich Golinello deep into the runoff, and it looks like he's got some serious problems in the engine department of that number 55. That is the Grand Sanitation Ford Mustang, one of those 500S's.
Yeah, smoke emanating from both banks there on that V8. Look at the traffic here. One of the K-Pax Volvos. They're really doing a tremendous job with the development of that little yellow C30. It's really coming on strong. Looked a lot better in qualifying here, and talking to both drivers, Rob Holland and Aaron Povolito, they believe that good things are going to come with that machine.
Well, you know, when it first started with the GT entry and Randy Popes and Andy Pilgrim, they had their development problems, but they brought them a championship last year at Cal. I think right now that Safronis is coming on big time, and now it looks like traffic is taken away from Davis.
He has come from absolutely nowhere. He's got around Dascalos. He's now up to second, and he is closing in on Brandon Davis. So the pace that Brandon's been running, that may now need to change with the force behind him from the Porsche, from the GMG stable.
Boy, and Dascalos also has gotten back around Mike Skeen. I don't know whether that was an issue in traffic or what may be developing there. And Crescentini completes the top 5 once again as Safronis on a charge. But Davis leads in GT, Paul Brown in GTS from the get-go, and in touring, it's Navarro. The Pirelli World Challenge Championships are brought to you by Privacy Star, the only complete privacy and preference service available for smartphones. By Cadillac V-Series, the 556 horsepower CTS-V coupe, sedan, and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars. And by Invisible Glass, America's #1 selling automotive glass cleaner.
Let's take a look at the race recap thus far. There was carnage at the start of this race in the touring car class. On board with Oren Palvalido, he tries to squeeze between the two front row starters. You can see there was no room. Ensuing carnage, Aschenbach limps back to pit lane. In GTS, Paul Brown looks very comfortable out front as he stretches the lead on Jason Van Kluge. Then Pat Long, after creeping out at the start, got a stop-and-go penalty. He serves it. Came into the pits in third, heads out in 12th. But meanwhile, up front, Brandon Davis, Jason Daskelos, 3 corners that went side by side. And meanwhile, James Safronis is on a charge. He passes Rob Morgan. Next man on his list is Skeen. Slices through the inside down into turn 9. Great pass there, brushes the wall. Skeen, that is. And then the last guy on his list right now was Jason Daskelos. Down into turn 8, that's for P2. And now we look at it as he is chasing down the last man on that list. Brandon Davis leads. James Safronis is up to second.
And at one point, Davis had almost an 8-second lead in traffic, and Safronis has closed it up. Part of it is he finally got a few breaks in traffic, but he also has a very good Porsche underneath him at this point in the race. It continues to heap the pressure on, and you talked about it earlier, Cal. This is the race James wants to win more than any other, and he won it once, and of course that just makes you all the more hungry, doesn't it?
He wants it bad, but I think the one thing that these drivers are on right now is a learning curve with these Pirelli tires. We had the 2 rounds at St. Petersburg, both had heavy caution periods, so right now they're probably on the longest green flag run they've seen this season. Do they have to manage the tires? Are they going to stay good? That's what the 2 leaders are now thinking about, I'm sure.
Watching both of them, as you talked about earlier as well, being very gentle on those rears, coming out of that hairpin, not spinning them up, burning them down, as they now go by the GTS machine, I believe of P.D. Cunningham, and Brandon Davis just hauling that beautiful ACS Express Sun Micro Mustang Cobra deep down into the braking zone there. And once Safronis a little bit offline because of the traffic. Here comes Daskelos right behind him is Crescentini, and behind him is Skeen, who at one point was up into third and has dropped back just a little bit.
Yes, he has, and you see the strengths and weaknesses not only between the 3 different classes out here racing together, but also within the class. Certainly the Mustang and the Viper has a lot of strength down the straightaways, but the Porsche very strong in the brake zones. Look at Crescentini now really closing down on Daskelos. He wants a place on the podium again like he had here last year.
Crescentini not shy about rubbing a little paint off of those mirrors on those walls either. He is using every ounce of racetrack.
He really is, but I tell you what, Jason has done a tremendous job here. His car hasn't looked that comfortable there. He has to really slow there and give that traffic ahead of him some room, and that should allow Crescentini to be a little bit closer. But here's where that V10 muscle kicks in down this back straightaway.
Here's that muscle, and then what? Now we watch for the brakes. Crescentini not quite close enough. And this is compelling racing, and the series gives you plenty of opportunities to explore it on the social media. World-Challenge.com, all the latest news and views on World Challenge. Or you can go to World-ChallengeTV.com. There you can check out cool in-car video, driver interviews, and watch this complete race and all the other World Challenge races online right here on that site. And, of course, if you're a big Facebook fan, no worries. Search World Challenge GT, GTS, and Touring Car Series. Interact with other World Challenge fans and post your race pictures and video. And you're going to have looks at racing just like this, as again, Crescentini showing the nose to Daskelos as they get down into this very intricate fountain complex.
He stuffs it in there so deep into turn 1, he nearly runs wide every lap, just brushing the wall on the exit of turn 1, but he recognizes this is where his strength is, through this section. Oh, he lost a little bit there right at apex. I'm sure he was thinking about setting him up for this next corner as turn 6 we're coming up into. Traffic up ahead. Rob Holland having a good run after that initial bang down in the turn 8 tire wall on lap 1, but he's recovered nicely.
Rob Holland, you can see his experience showing. Crescentini takes a look. Oh, I don't know if they... well, they did there. That settled that. Little bump. Crescentini is through. Here comes Skeen, jumping on that opportunity.
He's trying to take advantage of that situation. 3 wide down into the brake zone. Crescentini on the brakes latest once again. He takes the position.
You get the feeling Skeen went, no. I think I'm going to wait on this one. Wow, absolutely some great judgment by Skeen, but some incredible driving by all 3.
There really was. I think Dino left Daskelos enough room on the outside of turn 8, but Jason didn't track all the way out, and consequently they touched and rubbed fenders heading down the back straightaway.
Now coming up on Meyer's wounded Mazda at this point, so apparently that problem. And look at now, Dascalos, Crescentini right down the middle of the track, and here's a little nick once again. And
He's wide.
Way out wide.
He's out there in the marbles. We talk about the grip on these street circuits. You got to be online. He took it in there so deep, just couldn't get it quite turned in, but did a nice job of recovering and not going straight on. Lost minimal amount of time, but he did lose a position to Skeen.
You think Dino is into aggression on the streets of Long Beach? You were talking about his braking, running to the walls, and that time just parked it right down the middle and said, you want me, you do it around the outside. And Dascalos took the bait a little bit. Now Brandon Davis coming up on Devin Cates, who's having a great run, one of his best career runs, certainly in World Challenge. He gets around him, and there is Paul Brown. He has led from the drop of this flag for this race. Just an incredible performance by Brown. He had fast lap at the opening 2 races, but doesn't have a win yet. And that's the one thing he's looking for, and maybe it'll happen today in his 50th start. You know, in only its second year, the GTS category.
See the puff of smoke there.
The GTS category has proven to be an area of immense growth, and one of the reasons is Ford's commitment.
Hi, I'm Paul Brown, and I'm the driver of the number 50 new Boss 302 Mustang. This is my ride behind me, and hopefully we're going to take it to a championship. I've been running Fords for almost 25 years now, and Ford Racing has done such a good job with this new car. They actually built it for the World Challenge Series and the GTS class, and man, this thing's just a beast. It's a beautiful car to drive, lots of fun, very responsive, and it's got that muscle car feel so you can still burn the tires coming out of the corner. So now you've heard why I like the new Boss Mustang, and this is the guy that made my job easy. Tell me about the new Boss.
Thanks, Paul. Well, Ford's really excited to be here at Long Beach Grand Prix, and we're bringing the new Boss 302S, which is our latest turnkey race car from Ford Racing. It takes a stock Boss 302 Mustang and turns it into a full-fledged race car. And what we've done here is taken the feedback from the drivers and listened to them and understand what their issues are and concerns, and we've addressed all of them in the car, and we've given you guys a turnkey car that you can finish up front.
And how close is this to the production car? Because from what I've seen so far, it's really close to basically what the customer's seeing on the street.
Well, the engine is completely 100% production. We don't do any balancing or blueprinting. The engine that comes from the factory is good enough. The suspension is pretty much carryover with some different bushings. Uses a solid rear axle and stock transmission.
This thing's awesome, man. Any extra features as far as aerodynamics that you've done for this car?
Well, looking at the body, we've deviated from the production body panels by using a functional front splitter, an air extractor carbon fiber hood, and a functional rear wing.
And all these parts, if not available through Ford or other suppliers, but like the body parts, the fenders, everything's still stock?
Everything's 100% stock. We use all the stock sheet metal everywhere else.
That means for us, if we have crash damage or need something, we can pick it up at the local Ford dealer, which that makes this car pretty reasonable to run.
That's right. That's what we're trying to do.
And that's the new Boss 302. I'm Paul. We'll see you at the track.
Boy, we've already showed you that this car in the right hands, and these drivers have it, is awfully competitive. Here comes Tommy Dreese in that X-Men Porsche underneath. That's a GT car, Paul in the GTS category machine. His first pro race was 20 years ago in the streets of Des Moines. He said, I'm a street fighter. I love these. So he's had a great run so far and has certainly done the job. There is your leader in the touring cars, Rafael Navarro, right in between Jason Von Kluge. But leading overall in a GT, Brandon Davis. Brown, as we said, in GTS. Navarro in touring car. Closing in on the finish of the Pirelli World Challenge in Long Beach, presented by StopTech. Third round of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. And Brandon Davis continues to lead overall right there in that black ACS Express Sun Microsystems Ford Mustang Cobra, and has been able to stretch it again just a little bit, Cal, over James Safronis in that Global Motorsports Group Porsche.
What a great mature run by Brandon Davis here. He's really come on leaps and bounds. I mean, we've seen him come through his early years in this category and was pretty raw, but still got the results and had a lot of speed. But today, he has just driven the perfect race. It isn't over yet. Certainly James Safronis is very close, and now traffic is playing a part there. Jakubowski, I believe that's the Cayman in the way. Brandon Davis slices through, but it also slows down James Safronis a little bit, so probably no advantage there for James in that action.
You know what? The other thing with Davis is he's always been a great street fighter, even in those young days. Remember at 06, he won on the street course at Denver, driving one of the real-time Acuras in touring car back then. loves the street courses. And look at this, Shea Holbrook now up into second in the touring car class, the Lucas Oil K&N My Plugs entry. She did that while we were in break, and she is having herself, this is easily going to be her best performance. Ooh, so you're up on the bike there just a little bit.
The curb there, and what a very impressive young lady she is. I met her a couple of years ago. I was doing some media training at the St. James Foundation, and she was part of that group, and she always had great personality, great passion, and she's making it happen now in the world of motorsports at a very tough time, so this is a great run for her here today.
As I said, when we were talking about the grid, this is her third different Honda. Her car got wrecked comprehensively in the first race at St. Pete. She got into one of the Compass cars, put in a great drive in the second race. They still couldn't get her car done, and just a superb effort. Brandon Peterson Racing provided her this car, not set up when they got here to Shea's setup on the car, and set up with a shock package for a smooth road course, and they've been adjusting it. Boy, did they nail it come race time.
They really did. She's really gotten a groove here, run some very impressive lap times, and looking for her first podium finish. Again, using all of the curb there, and that's really down to that suspension setup, being able to run over those inside curbs at apex and not unsettle the car.
And I think she knows what she's doing here in terms of what she might accomplish, because this is as aggressive in using all the track, using those curbs, that I've seen her certainly this weekend. She really, I think, is feeling it right now, and it's showing. And right behind her there, you see that blue VW. That's Devin Cades, who she got by. So just an absolutely superb run. And after the start of the season that she had, boy, how much is this going to mean? It's a family operation, top to bottom, and boy, is it going to be sweet for that
Oh,
crew.
look at this. Petey Cunningham gets all locked up there, really sideways into the braking zone for turn one. He's keeping the pressure on.
Well, maybe he thinks he's got a whiff of the podium, Cal.
Well, he does, and he's also got that bright green Mustang who's handing him right now as he comes down the inside of Holbrook. That's Adams. He's got Petey Cunningham in his sights, and he's pushing hard to try and get that last position.
That's Brad Adams, the rookie, the Voodoo Music RaceWithRP.com Ford Mustang. That's one of those 500S. So, a lot of moment there with Ishtuk. Boy, there's some close quarters racing between classes. Meanwhile, Rafael Navarro has continued to put on, even with that one little run down into the runoff area, he was able to regain, never lost the lead, and he's got about 3 corners clear right now of Shea Holbrook. So Rafael doing a great job in that Revo Technique Carbotech entry.
And this is sometimes really hard to do. We're seeing the best in the business. Think about Ayrton Senna at Monaco. When you got a healthy lead, you've still got to stay so focused on a street circuit like this. It's very easy to make a mistake, but so far we saw the little bobble down in turn 8, but the rest of it has been smooth sailing.
I think you just maybe made Rafael Navarro's career referencing him in the same sentence as Ayrton Senna. Well done. And this guy has put together a very, very strong drive. And obviously, this is not what he's used to. He did some racing in the Jetta TDI Cup and everything, but his forte, his strong suit, is off-road racing. His street circuit and road course racing is a little foreign to him. You'd never notice.
You wouldn't. He's certainly making his dad, Rafael Navarro, very proud here today, as the rest of the family, and he just kept it really clean. He knows he's got a healthy margin over the second place runner Shea right now. So, oh, this is a surprise Skeen, side of the road.
I don't see any damage, and you see the worker leaning through the fence talking to him, so you'd have to guess some sort of mechanical failure. And he had dropped back a little bit, although he looked a little racy there the last time we were watching him. So we'll have to, at this point, it would be pure speculation. But Brandon Davis, look at this, late in the going here, he's stretched that margin once again. And it got down to under a second, and now it's just a little bit over 2 seconds at this point. Davis, I think this is the most mature drive I've seen him put together. He has done everything very, very well.
He really has, and the Pirelli tires have made a tremendous change, I think, to this car's setup around Long Beach. Tire management was always a critical factor, but he's been able to charge hard all day long, and the car has still got really good traction coming off these low-speed corners there. Gets the power down well, and he's gapped James Safronis just a little bit. It's not over. We still see some lap traffic there. That can certainly play a part here with about a lap and a half to go.
And Shea Holbrook, he just knifed underneath Safronis. Looks like he'll get those 2 cars that Davis got by cleanly, but he's still, as they get into the twisty bits here, heading into the hairpin. Safronis has some traffic. Davis rolls onto the throttle. Again, beautiful. No wheel spin, gapping it, and should see the white flag flying as he comes by start-finish. Safronis now clears the traffic. White flag. We're on the final lap, Cal.
Well, we know James Safronis is late on the brakes, but I think even for him, the gap is way too much to make a move during this final lap.
Davis Beautiful control down through turn 1. Breaks into that fountain complex. Boy, that is threading the needle there, isn't it?
See a little bit of understeer in the car. We've seen that in the early going as well as probably the setup. They recognize that the rear tires may be the problem or the area they had to focus on, and probably had a little bit of understeer dialed into the car and has kept the rear grip underneath him all day long.
Comes up, puts a move on Povaledo, and then down into, this is an interesting little corner, isn't it? It falls away all the way on the exit, so you're off camber.
It really is. You have to be so careful there. You can sometimes get misled. There we see Sofronis trying to look down the inside of the Volvo. Sometimes the traffic will not read that situation. Sofronis is through, though. Maintains second. But it's a big gap to the leader right now as he head down into turn 9.
Last time into that hairpin complex, Brandon Davis. Boy, what a drive, and especially when you consider he hasn't driven World Challenge since this race last year. He's been doing lots of oval racing out here in California, but back on a street course, on a road course, and he shows, I think he's even better than we've seen him before. Down the front straight, he's in traffic, but no worries. Brandon Davis comes through with a big win in a return to World Challenge. Sofronis giving it his all, brings it home in second. He really tried, but today, it's Brandon Davis's day once again.
It is, and I think that may have actually saved P.D. Cunningham there a little bit because he split P.D. from Adam, so Adam got the checkered flag and P.D. continues, so that kept P.D. from having another lap where he had to
look
defend.
At this! This is Von Kluge, and that's Brown! He
This
is
is for the lead.
alongside Brown. This is for the lead. Von Kluge runs wide.
He touches him.
That was a hit.
He clipped him there. Is there a problem with Brown's car? Is he out of fuel?
We saw that smoke, too. Watch here. Von Kluge pushes wide.
Is wide.
Brown, lights up the rears. It's a drag race, and suddenly Von Kluge just accelerates away.
But look at Brown. He's got no acceleration there off the hairpin.
Yeah.
Van Kluge takes the win. What happened to Brown there in the last half a lap? He had a commanding lead, and it all went away through turn 9.
Unbelievable. So Jason Von Kluge comes through, gets his second win of the season, and here is Navarro. And right now, he's just sort of in a GTS sandwich, but he doesn't have any real pressure at this point. So all he's got to do is negotiate this double apex left into the hairpin one last time. And Rafael Navarro, welcome to World Challenge. What a show he has put on. And in his first ever World Challenge event, unbelievably, Cal is going to bring it home with a win. What a great story.
Superb run. Adams does the extra lap. I believe that he'd already seen the checkered flag once today. It would have been close with he and Davis on the previous lap.
That's correct, and let's take a look at her Sunoco hard charger, Shea Holbrook. What a day she's having. She started 33rd overall, finished 21st. That's up 12 overall spots, more than anybody else, along with the second place. She gets the Sunoco hard charger award. And boy, this should be a fun celebration. But look at her. You can already see it, what's going on inside that helmet.
Oh my God, I don't even know where to go.
She says, I don't know where to go.
Oh, it's fantastic. Meanwhile, on board with Mr. Brandon Davis as he makes his way through that tricky fountain complex. He's your winner.
Welcome back. The checkered flag has fallen on the Pirelli World Challenge at Long Beach, presented by StopTech, and what a day of racing it was. We see here the harbour here, the aquarium in the background, and just a great day of racing. Hard to believe with 36 cars on this street circuit, we saw no caution periods throughout today's race, and that certainly played a big part in strategy for some of the drivers. There we see Jason Dasclos. What a great run he had, leading the opening laps there, and looked very strong all day long as Vipers once again strong. But ultimately it was this man, Brandon Davis, with the win, and adds a second win at Long Beach to his resume. A fantastic day for the young man and a great mature drive. Never seen him drive like that before. But let's take a quick look at the top 10 results as Brandon pulls into victory lane. At the top, we see Brandon Davis. The top 10 filled with GT machines. James Sofronis, a brilliant run. The second, just 2.5 seconds back. Tony Gables, what a day for him. All the way up to 4th spot. He's always strong in the races. Pat Long, really, the lack of cautions really hurt his ability to charge through the field. But the man who's in victory lane and what the day was all about is the young Californian. He's there with Greg.
Brandon Davis, a return to World Challenge. You haven't run it full season for the past couple of years. You won here in 08. This was the battle of the locals. You're from Huntington Beach. James is from Newport Beach. You guys were duking it out. You seem to have just enough in hand.
You know what? We were really fortunate today. We came in and we were basically looking at who was behind us. We figured that Pat was going to check out there, and when he rolled the start, it gave us a chance. And to be honest with you, I don't know if we could have held James off if he didn't have to call him from so far back. I mean, we were fading there, but just enough to finish. I mean, I was screaming on the radio after we won it. I mean, it feels great to come out here. I've been coming here for so many years, and to come back to World Challenge and win like this just feels great.
Here are the GT driver standings presented by Volvo after round 3. You can see Pat Long continues to lead despite a bit of a struggle here today after the jump start. Zafrona's looking very strong in the second of the Porsches. And there you see his dad, Mike Davis, hugging Brandon after a brilliant win, his second in 3 years here at Long Beach. Now we move on to the manufacturer standings in GT. Porsche leads with 27 points, followed by Cadillac, Volvo and Nissan. Greg has made his way from victory lane over to what has been a fantastic story here today in Long Beach.
Second place in touring cars, by far and away your best finish. Way to go.
Greg, I don't even, that race was amazing, you know. I got 2 wheels up on the fountain. I can't believe it. I am so ecstatic. Thank you so much to Lucas Oil and K&N. This race is for my cousin Matthew Clapp. Thank you so much, race fans. Thank you for coming out. This is amazing, Greg.
Here's a look at the touring car driver standings presented by Volvo. Ascherbach continues to lead, but the big story today is a first-time winner, Greg.
Rafael, a true rookie, never been in World Challenge, never seen a street course, and you win. Got to tell us about that one moment down in turn 8, though.
Yeah, you know, oh my God. The GT cars, I'm not used to that. That's something that the GT drivers probably hate me right now, but I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, the brakes were kind of smoking at the beginning of the race, and then they kind of felt like they got the pedal real mushy at the end. And then, you know, it got in the ABS. It started getting the ABS, so that was a problem. You know, I got the GT cars coming and the GTS cars coming, and then I just went to go to brake, and it went in the ABS, so.
And today's Manufacturers Fan Championship Award goes to Corvette. So GM took it at St. Petersburg with the Cadillacs, and they take it once again, this time with the Corvette brand. What a day for those guys. And once again, the fans came out in droves to support the car that they love, the Corvette. But in GTS, it was all about Ford, and they say it's never over till it's over, Greg.
What an amazing development in the last corner of the last lap in the GTS category. Paul Brown, you had led the whole thing, and then suddenly it looked like they just laid down on you. What happened?
On the last lap and a half, I lost transmission. We had first and fourth, so I was doing everything I could to keep Jason behind me, and obviously you got to be there at the end, so I did what I could. He gave me a little love, and we moved on. He won the race today. I got second.
Well, Jason, you saw the opportunity. You got down into the hairpin. You got by him, but then you looked like you pushed really wide trying to get on the throttle. What a way to finish it. Second win in 3 races. Welcome to World Challenge.
Well, thank you very much. I guess I love this series. I can't ask for anything better out of this. You know, I can't thank Ford and Varsity Ford and Steeda, everybody just taking care of me. This Boss 302S is just a bad machine, and Paul just, you know, he ran a hell of a race and kept it clean and kept it straight the whole time. And you know, that traffic's something to deal with out there. The TC cars and the GT cars, it's a handful. Just got to give it up to everybody.
We had a drifting competition here this weekend, but Brandon Davis, our GT winner, does his own right now. Stick with us. We'll be back to the streets of Long Beach.
The Pirelli World Challenge Championships are brought to you by Nissan. Innovation for all. By Racekeeper, one of the world's most capable and trusted providers of video data loggers. And by Optima batteries. With twice the life and 15 times the vibration resistance, they really are the ultimate power source. Folks, it's a while after the event, and as has happened sometimes, things have changed in tech, and we wanted to update you on that, Calvin. It happened not in GT, but in GTS and Touring.
It has. Unfortunately, 2 of our class winners today have been excluded from the results. In GTS, Jason von Kluge with his Mustang was found to have modified rear suspension outside of the rules. And in touring car, Rafael Navarro had a modified air intake on that VW GTI, giving the win to Shea Holbrook. You can see here she is absolutely ecstatic, Greg.
Only the second woman in World Challenge history to win a race, and Paul Brown, in his 50th start, 3 straight fast laps, he finally gets the win. A great story. So now we have some modified final results. Nothing changes in GT, so that top 10 remains exactly the same. But as we said, it's GTS and touring cars when the changes come. There is Paul Brown. He now gets the win. Ben Crosland ends up in second. Peter Cunningham gets his 100th podium, by far and away the leader in that category. And then, of course, we talked about what unfolded in the touring car division, and Shea Holbrook, what a great performance.
It really was. You see the two Volvos there, Rob Holland there on Pavolito, showing a lot of speed but not getting the results they were looking for. Big loser here today was Eric Foss. That tyre cut down early in the run. Very few points on the board for him, who came into this round with the championship lead.
We talked earlier about that great charge by Sofronis. Unfortunately, I was able to visit with him a while earlier. Well, with everything that was going on, we had to track James down in Victory Circle after the festivities. But James, absolutely amazing race today. Two locals going at it for the overall win at Long Beach. Doesn't get much better than that, unless, of course, you won it instead of second. But what a great day of racing.
Well, this is great for the fans. No full course cautions. Let it all hang out. Push the car to limit. 50-minute sprint race. You just want to drive all flat out the whole time. So that was great. I had a bobble on the start coming in on the first lap. Lost half a dozen spots and then just put my head down. Unfortunately, the radio communication was lost at the beginning of the race, so I didn't even know what position I was. And then I just picked them off one by one. The Stop Tech brakes were awesome. That was my savior. We don't have the power down here in the straightaways, but under braking we definitely do. And that's how I passed everyone, from Vipers to Cadillacs to Corvettes. And, it's a shame Dino got knocked out. I know he would have been on the podium with me, but the GMG guys did an amazing job. I mean, it was such a long weekend with another race yesterday in ALMS, and they just put their heads down and focus on this race. And I can't say enough about the crew. I got my beautiful daughter Chloe here supporting me, which gives me all the inspiration, as well as my wife Nargis and my new son Jensen. It's just I'm very blessed. And I appreciate everything that the guys do back at the shop, especially Fabrice. He does a great job.
There were a lot of great passes out there today, but the Cadillac CTSV move of the race was this one. Brandon Davis on lap 9. Finally, it took him 3 corners, but he gets the lead away from Jason Daskalos.
Was an incredible move. Now, in GTS, Paul Brown, we talked about it, he gets the win with the changes to the result. So let's take a look at the revised GTS driver standings presented by Volvo. And it now shows Paul Brown in front of Eric Foss, as you alluded to, Cal. Then Cunningham third, Jason Van Kluge is fourth, and Ben Crosland ends up in the 5th spot. And in the GTS manufacturing standings, it's Ford. That great run continues for the Blue Oval. Nicely done with Acura. Not that far out yet. Certainly a lot of season yet to go. And in touring car, Shea Holbrook dedicated this race to her cousin Matthew. He passed away from Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It's a charity near and dear to her heart. A very special day for her and the family. Let's take a look now at the touring car driver standings presented by Volvo. Aschenbach hangs on to the lead, Devin Cates, but Shea Holbrook up into third with Zitza and Holland 4th and 5th. And the manufacturer standings for touring car after 3 rounds, Honda only 3 points clear of VW, and Volvo in their first season in touring car, a very respectable 3rd at this point. Calvin, a race that in so many different ways was turned on its ear.
Well, this was a fantastic battle here today on the streets of Long Beach. We saw drama all the way through, and we saw even more after the checkered flag flew, obviously, with the exclusion of 2 of our class winners here today.
A busy day, but now after 3 straight races, we move to a full-out high-speed road course, Miller Motorsports Park.
And that's going to change things up considerably. Some of these teams and drivers really felt they would have an advantage on these street circuits. They now move to the wide open spaces of a traditional road course. It'll change things up a little bit.
Which will follow the example set here at this legendary venue. Take care, everybody.